Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roundup Show for what feels like it has been far too long. We've got a win to talk about, Chris.
I'm still in shock. I'm pinching myself. I've said many times following Leicester, at what point does pinching yourself become self-harm? I mean, I did the watch along for it, and it wasn't the best stream, I've got to be honest with you, but it was just like, it was typical Leicester. 8 minutes, having most of the play, going behind, but then it was so unlike Leicester this season. The fact that we went on to win. Vardy was actually having, well, most people that you normally haven't been having good games, like Vardy, Samara, they all were putting in a shift. Vardy earned the penalty, Enacho missed the call, and Castagna, wow, right place, right time. Thank you very much, madam.
Yeah, it's saying right place, right time. I don't think it does it justice because the run that he made into the box to be in the right place was brilliant, and it was like a striker-esque finish as well. It's not, you wouldn't expect that sort of level of finish from your left back.
No,
Sorry, from
he has got a good goal in him, though, hasn't he? He's
yeah.
got a few down the years, and I was being flippant, obviously, when I was saying those things. But yeah, it was it was just great to watch, and I'm sat there and I was a bit worried, and I think I actually fell into this trap that when we had the good second half against Man City, that was it. Suddenly, we were going to end up and be safe mid-table and what have you. And then, of course, going that one goal behind, thinking, "Oh God, same old, same old." We had three strikers on, and here we were 1-0 behind. But look, in Dean Smith we trust. Um, I actually had forgotten what it was like to see a manager in the technical area jumping up and down and shouting at his players and telling them to effing get in the right places and what have you. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is such a huge week though for us.
Biggest week of the season. I think I don't want to say we can confirm Premier League safety this week, but we can get our our foot through the door of like Premier League football next season.
We've beaten Wolves, who, in fairness, are not as in a bad situation as we are, but like they say, they're 6 pointers, and they are because Leeds are 1 point above us, Everton are below us on goal difference. If we can win those two games, and on paper Wolves was the most difficult, um, that will give us what 30, 28, 31, 35 points. I'm not saying that's going to be enough, but
I think 30. I've said 37. I think it's enough, but it's.
my worrying thing is we've got Newcastle to come and look what they've done today.
Do you see the Spurs fans? And I do not blame them one bit. They were leaving after 20 minutes, and it's like it's a long way back to London.
In fairness, yeah, and you've got to think, well, not just us that go down by so many goals so early. Then
I don't think we've ever gone down 5-0 within 19 minutes. Or
was it 19 within? Oh, I didn't realize. I thought it was like 3-0 after 19.
I believe it was 5-0 after 19 minutes.
Wow, no, that makes our Manchester City start look look really good.
And as good as Newcastle are, Man City are a level above. But
Yeah.
in terms of our game, you've mentioned it. Like, we started the game really well, and I
Yeah.
don't know how well this came across. Obviously, on the stream that you were watching it for, but the King Power was absolutely bouncing from kickoff, and like it felt like that unity that's been missing for so long was back. And something that you wouldn't have seen. I went into the ground early. I don't normally go into the ground early. I was there at about in between 20 past 2 and 2:30, around that period. And when Craig Shakespeare came out, he walked around the entire pitch and clapped all of the home fans that were already in, sort of like get
Really?
behind them. I think he realizes how important, he knows the club better than
Yeah.
anyone. He knows how important having fans behind the team are for a club like us.
Unfortunately, obviously, with it being a stream, I can't have the sound on, so I couldn't see, or hear what the atmosphere was like. And I have to be honest with you, it was probably one of the worst streams that I've had in about the last 6 months. I missed the penalty being given. I missed Christian's goal. I mean, it was an awful stream. But people have said. I think that second half performance against Man City gave the fans belief as well as the players. And I think you've got, like you say, Shakespeare. And I said I don't know if Dean Smith would have been quite as warmly welcomed if he hadn't got Shakespeare with him, but okay, he has. And we know what Shakespeare brings to the party. And if they did not get the fans behind them for this match, then they never would.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the thing is, if Dean Smith, he's said all the right things, but it's very easy to say all the right things. But now he's putting his words into practice because we've heard it so much over the last 18 months. And it's like talk is cheap. It's like actions. And his actions delivered on what his words were saying of basically going back to the basics and trying to do what we're good at, which is getting the ball forward quickly, getting into a final third quickly, and putting men forward and getting numbers forward, which I don't think we did massively in the first half, but second half, I thought like once the confidence was growing, it was massively improved. First half, I didn't think we were particularly poor. I just think slightly over on in the midfield, which he addressed at half time. We're going to get onto that in just a second. But second half, the confidence was just flowing.
It was a tale of two halves. I think overall we deserved it because apart from sort of that maybe 15, 20 minutes after they scored, we were pretty much on top for most of the match. It's nice to see him, like you say, a manager that does what he says. I'd forgotten, that they existed. But also, I mean, these next three games were must-win games. Yeah. Now, we said, indeed he shouldn't be starting again. He didn't. We said Soyuncu had a great game, so he should be starting the game. He did. But he looked at this and thought, we need 3 points here. I'm going to stick all my 3 strikers on.
I think he was almost, as much as it was a ballsy move, I think his arm was slightly twisted with that, with Maddison being ill. Because I think he played Iheanacho more as maybe as a number 10 than a striker, but it worked.
It worked. Could easily have put Yuri in that role and brought Pratt. There was other options for him, but it showed. The thing is, as fans, when we looked at that and thought, I mean, I certainly did. I looked at it and thought, hang on, this has got to be a misprint here. My worry was obviously is what happens if we've got no attacking options to bring on. But as a fan, you looked at that and you thought, my God, he's going for that, yeah. And again, that's something we've not felt. Well, I've not felt for ages.
That's it. I put a tweet out when the team lineups came out. It's like it looks like Dino's on the beers as well. Let's get after them or something like that.
I've got to ask you a question though about this because it pisses me off at the moment with our club. Is that it came out and there's no Maddison. Mm-hmm. There's no explanation. Nobody knows what's going on until literally, well, certainly at my end, into the game, and somebody said, "Oh, apparently he's ill, got a bug." Why can't they keep the fans informed? Because all the fans are sat there going like, "Oh, what does this mean?" And and it just creates it's that Chinese whisper things. Why can't they put the team out and they go, "Here's your starting lineup," and put the thing and go, and got a stomach bug, and because they knew in the morning, so it wasn't like it was they did it at kickoff or anything. Why don't they just keep the fans informed?
You really find nitpicky things to moan at this week. You can tell we.
That links back to the no signings in the summer. There's not a lot to moan about. I've got to be honest with you, but look, we're here to criticise. We're not going to sit here for the next hour and go that Leicester City is only going to qualify for Europe. Let's be honest, but it does. Those little things do pee me off. Just keep the fans informed. We were supposed to be so important to you during COVID.
To be fair, I think as well, I knew about the illness, I think about 1:00. So it was available, but it wasn't officially confirmed by sort of anyone. But I think the thing is, players, we were missing Harvey Barnes, our top goal scorer. We were missing Maddison, our key creator. And we still ran or dictated large periods of the game. Wolves had that, as you mentioned, that 10, 15-minute spell after we conceded where the thing is, they had that spell, but they didn't create a huge amount in it. They knocked the ball around nicely. They played some nice triangles. They played some nice shapes and worked for space well. But I can't really remember them creating any clear-cut opportunities in that period.
No. I mean, obviously, the one that they did score from was our mistake, and no, you're never going to cut those out totally. It's a game of football. It's human beings. You're going to get mistakes happen. I never felt particularly worried.
Oh, I did. I felt terrified. I'll be honest, which I said it on my match day vlog as well, which is like, I don't know if this is just muscle memory of I've seen us take a lead so many times here and just collapse. But we did all the right things not to do that. Like when we were sitting deep in that last 10 minutes, it felt like a very long 10 minutes. But how many times have we done that over this season where we've sat deep but had nothing going the other way? At least when we were sitting deep this time, we were offering something on the counter to get ourselves back up the pitch. It wasn't as if it was just wave after wave of Wolves' attack.
Yes, we did, and again, I think it comes from the manager. I think the fact you look at him and you look at how he reacts, how he he's barking instructions out. Brad said to me that somebody was complaining or something, and he turned around and told them what to do. One of our players. I just think it just seems that everything that we've not been having for the last 18 months, we've suddenly got in the space of 2 weeks. What he has done, and all right, look, it's 2 games, and one and a half, probably only 1.5 of those we've been reasonably okay. But let's not get carried away. But you can't help it when you've had the sort of season we've had.
That's it. And the thing is, he has, as well as he's doing, he hasn't had to do a huge amount. All he's had to do is get the confidence back in these players because they're very good. Like we've said it for the longest time, we've got some very good individual players, and it's just about obviously playing to the strengths and getting the confidence back. And I feel like that's 90% of his battle with this squad.
It is, and it's picking players that should be picked, if you like. And you know where I'm going with that one. 2 games.
I was going to say, before you go there,
yeah.
I'm just going to jump into the chat because I think someone else has just said exactly what I was thinking. It's my mate, yeah. He's a United fan.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Wembley. Wembley's going to be painted blue again. But
I don't know. Did they lose United?
One on penalties, unfortunately.
Oh.
But I would have liked to have seen Brighton in the final. It would have been entertaining and something different.
Yes, it would. Me, I always like to see the smaller clubs do well because I always think of us still as a smaller club. But it's going to be... why don't they just move it up to Old Trafford or somewhere, save the fans a load of money in travelling?
Well, they're giving United fans a local game in London. Come on.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But anyway,
I'll take you back.
Let's quickly get into the live chat. Guys, do drop a like on the stream. As I say, these massively help out. Over the next few weeks, you can try and be starting a weekly show with Chris as well. So do make sure to subscribe to Leicester Tie-Dye. Should be able to just click on the title and it will be there. RF, how are you doing, my friend? I hope you are well. Brilliant atmosphere yesterday. Best I've heard the King Power for a couple of years. It was brilliant. Vaughan, absolutely bang on, mate. Where are we? Leicester, please win on Tuesday evening. Chris and Auntie's evening, Richard. I hope you are well. I love the triple striker, just the message it sent. Yeah, it was going out with that intent to go and win a game, which we haven't seen for a while. So much it's felt, don't go out and lose a game. Just don't go out and lose it. But we went out there and went to try and win it. And admittedly, Daka actually played on the left as a left winger because of Barnes not being available, and Iheanacho played as a second striker. But as you say, it's just the intent and the message. We have Newcastle on Thursday, God help us. That's a difficult one, isn't it? That is a real difficult one. But at least that's a Goodison, mate. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday, Sharky. Welcome into the chat, my friend. Thank you. I feel the same. Beautiful shirt, Chris. I do like the JJB shirts.
Yes.
But,
There's some good. I love a good classic shirt.
we did everything Dean Smith said we would do. Break lines quickly before the defence can set. Play Vardy on the shoulder of the last man. Impressed with this coach. Thing is, it's early days, but so far so good. And the thing is, it might only be like till the end of the season. He keeps us up, shake hands, and then he goes. We both go our separate ways. But I'm starting to feel like if he keeps us up, he will be given at least a season.
I asked this question myself in the post-match bit of the watch-along, and it would be hard for him to have done the job of keeping us up, which, let's be honest with you, we look dead and buried at times this season. Had Arsenal not decided to pull the socks up towards the end of that game on Friday night, we would have been bottom going into this. It's going to be hard if he does that job for us to then say, well, look, we want, Graham Potter to come in. I think it'd be really, really, really unfair. Look, I love Shaky to bits, and I think he's great number 2 to have. And I think whether Terry stops or not, I mean, he said he'd had enough of football. He was taking a break, but he's come back now. I would like to. I think if we go down, he could be the perfect. This could be the perfect team to bring us back up again. And I don't think Potter will come to us if we go down. If we just stay up, let's be honest with you, we are not an attractive proposition. Yes, we've got the training ground. Yes, we've got all this, that, and the other. But when you look at us, we have struggled this season. So we're not as attractive as we were 2 or 3 seasons ago. So we might not even get Potter wanting to come. But if he keeps us up, why not give him a year and see what he can do with us?
Yeah, and something that's interesting about Dean Smith is that he was the one who built the foundations for what Thomas Frank has then carried on at Brentford. Likewise, with Villa, he built the team that came into the Premier League, and then a lot of this United Emery team is Dean Smith's work as well. There was a Scouser who fell over, came in the middle, but apart from that, it's very much Dean Smith's team at Villa.
Yeah, it is, and he's got that history. Look, we've said this for years. We always, for years it was, Ancelotti we want Ancelotti. Ancelotti's going to come, and no, he's not. He was never going to come. And it's the same with Pochettino. We're not going to get Pochettino. I don't care what anybody says. So, we've got to say, look at one of our most successful managers of all time, Martin O'Neill. Where did he come from? We've got to.
It's like Ranieri as well. It just came off the back of failing with Greece.
Yeah. It's. I would. Well, let's see what the season brings. But if he keeps us up, I would not be adverse. If it was all 3 of them, or even 2 of them, I wouldn't be adverse to giving them a season and seeing what they can do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of football to be played before then, and I think we'll have these conversations in a lot more depth at the end of the season, where we know what we will be next year. I think the one thing that I would say is it would be, and we've lacked this massively this year, if we would stay up and then get rid of him, I think it would be very ruthless. But I've almost missed that ruthlessness from our board, where everyone seems to go, that's the wrong decision, and then does something sort of the other way. But I almost feel like that's just me, because we've been so passive this season in terms of getting rid of Brendan Rodgers. But it's almost just the opposite of that, isn't it?
Yeah, look, whatever the board do, they're not going to please 100% of the fans. We know that, so they're buggered if they do, they're buggered if they don't, If they keep Dean Smith on, having kept us up, and we're still sort of 15th, 16th, halfway into the season, everybody was saying, oh, why did we keep him? Or, there's no guarantee that if Potter comes to us that, he's going to do with what he did with Brighton straight away, so... We've just got to take it and see where we are. Like you said, there's a hell of a lot of football before the end of the season. let's see. Well, let's see what division we're in before we start worrying about next season.
Yeah, 100%. And let's go back to the game yesterday quickly, because we've talked about the first half and the second half, but let's talk about the goals. That first goal, for the ball in behind from Vardy, and it was summed up perfectly. I saw a tweet and I retweeted it earlier, where it was like Vardy's game yesterday was very much sort of older Vardy, where you sort of he was making those runs in behind. He was on the last man, and something I noticed it watching him in the ground. I know it's harder to notice this sort of when you watch on TV. He wasn't doing the dog's work of chasing the defenders around. It sort of looked like he was using his energy more wisely, which I feel like may well have been an instruction from Dean Smith, just to sort of like.
Well, again, if it is good, he's got to do that because, like I say, he isn't a spring chicken. Look, I have a guy that comes in my watch alongs, Boris, and he's I'm sure he's the founder of the Leicester Till I Die Jamie Vardy fan club, because it's like we don't play Vardy, we're going down, and he's the man to keep us up, and he's got one goal all season, and he hasn't. And I've been quick enough to criticise him recently, but that was one of his best performances this season. If not, probably for 45 minutes, the best. I mean, he earned that penalty, again. And look at, I mean, in the last, go right back to the start of the season, he he's not been, putting himself in those sorts of positions. You could then counter that and say, well, the balls haven't been put through to him to get himself into those positions. But it was, like you said, almost old Vardy-esque, wasn't it?
It was, and something that I've said a fair amount this season. It's like it's all well and good saying that he doesn't get the service, but it's like he's not making those runs in behind. So the midfield will look up, and there's absolutely no one there for him for them to play the ball to. So they've almost had to reset. So, but you don't know if that's coming from the manager of telling him to help out the midfield, or if that's Vardy just not sort of.
What I was going to say, you don't know what they're told to do, but it's got to be, was it, sorry, Rodgers not accepting that Vardy's got to be played in a different way now. Like I say, what Dean Smith has seen in 2 weeks, he's got that performance out of Vardy. He's, no doubt will come on to other players as well. It's amazing what he's seen in 2 weeks that Brendan Rodgers couldn't see. I mean, look, with Brendan Rodgers, I did a show earlier on my channel, one of my rant shows. Sunday seems to be my rant day. And I said, was his ego more important to Brendan Rodgers than how the team did? And I think sometimes it was, because the players are there, he just didn't pick them or play them to the best of their abilities.
It's like, though, we've said this a fair few times, and I believe it's a Rob Tanner quote, but he didn't have a smaller squad than anyone else. He just had a smaller squad selection of players than
that he trusted. 100%. Yeah.
And it's like, but you look at the players that he trusted, and then you look at the players that he didn't trust. It's like he didn't trust our best centre back, yet he trusted Dan Amati, who I don't think is as bad as he was made out to be. But at the same time, he's not good enough to start week in, week out in the Premier League. He should be a player that comes in for a one-off game, does a job, and then goes back to
he's what I call a Philip Neville. He's all right in the squad and he can fill in a couple of positions, but like you say, you don't rely on him as one of your sort of starting 11.
Yeah, and it was reported earlier this year that when it was saying about he didn't have the squad that he wanted, 2 of the players he wanted to move on was Siunchu and Samare, and I saw this tweet and this headline earlier. I'm going to find it now because it was absolutely brilliant.
It wasn't Vibe Football 365, was it?
It was.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yes, classic. I have used that one as well. It is the best quote of the season, almost. If there's a reward for that.
Where are we? Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah,
the thing is, Neil's more organised than me. He always has it all ready.
It was an absolute classic headline.
There we go. This is the best quote of the season. Leicester Outcasts deliver one last FU to arrogant Rodgers.
Yeah.
What a headline of a story.
Yes. You'll be sat there reading that thinking, well, no, they don't know what they're talking about. Because that's it. The thing is, for whatever reason, and yet, okay, it's a lot easier for Dean Smith to come in and go, right, I don't care what's gone on before, line in the sand. I don't know you guys. We're all going to start with a clean slate. It's very easy for a new manager to do that. We don't know what went on, and we are all kind of siding with Soyuncu. There's the rumours that, well, because he didn't sign under, then that was upsetting because they were mates. And I'm sorry, I was headhunted once for a job. I wasn't given it straight away. Did that turn my head? Yes, it did, because it was more money, etc. So if he was having his head turned by approaches from some big European clubs, I don't blame him. Of course he's bound to. But then it's down to the manager to keep his feet on the ground and keep him playing and not just dumping for it. 2 games back, 2 man of the matches for me.
Yeah, and let's not pretend he was incredible last year. He wasn't.
No.
He did have a drop off in performance, but even so, he's still our best centre back. And I think something with Soyuncu is we'll never know fully what went on behind the scenes. But James said this in the Let's Talk Leicester City podcast that will be coming out tomorrow, so notifications on, cheeky little plug there. Is about Pearson and Drinkwater never particularly seeing eye to eye with a lot of stuff, but personal feelings were put aside for the good of the team.
Yes, yeah, and Albrighton as well a little bit with Pearson as well. You if you're a good manager, you do that. Again, I've been a manager in sales, and I don't have to like my staff. I don't particularly, didn't get on with some of my staff. But if I was to drop my best-selling member of staff just because I didn't like them or didn't get on with them, that's going to hurt the team, and it's going to hurt me in my position. But I don't. Well, look, he's gone now. We know that. But my worry is that it may be too late to get. I mean, I'd love to keep Soyuncu. I mean, him and FaZe, the hair bear bunch, isn't it? What a pair. You're obviously too young to remember the hair bear bunch. Google it afterwards.
Don't worry, 90% of the audience, that would have just gone straight over their head.
Oh, come on.
That's gone straight over mine. You would have said that's
Terry, tell me you know the hair bear bunch. I know you're more tweenies and Teletubbies, Ant, but back in the day, the hair bear bunch was...
back in my day.
when I was a lad,
Yeah, I was going to say, but it went over my head. But I was like, I know what you would have followed up with. Yeah, that's
no, I don't sink that low, unlike you. But no, look, I would love to keep him. And I'm not saying he was the best in the world all the time, but do you remember, when we sold Maguire and we'd had him a year, and then he suddenly came into the team, and did we miss Maguire? No. Because we got this guy from Turkey that had a rather large appendages and could play. So he was a good defender. He'd had a bad, was it a World Cup or Euro? I think it was Euros, wasn't it? The whole Turkish team did. But again, you come back and you should, as a manager, you should build their confidence back up, not make it worse.
I felt so sorry for him after that Euros with Turkey because he was the poster boy for Turkey.
Yeah.
And I think it went horrendously wrong. And I think he was the one who got the most backlash for it. The thing with Soyuncu, you do not get into the Bundesliga team of the season and the Premier League team of the season at 24 years of age if you're a bad defender. Yes, he's got his rash moments. Yes, he's got moments where he loses his head. And yes, he's got moments where you think, Jesus Christ, what have I just watched? But he's still our best defender. And I do worry. I think you're right. I think that the opportunity's gone. I think, no matter what you think of him as a player, there's a valuable asset there. And I think that's going to walk out of the club for free at the end of the season.
It's interesting because depends, like we say, who's here. I mean, if Dean Smith's gone in, put his arm around him, said, look, I want you in. I mean, you've proved in 2 games what I saw in 4 days on the training field that the bell end couldn't see for sort of 18 months. I want, you're part, and if I'm stopping, I want you to be part of my plans. it doesn't look like any teams, certainly from Europe's coming for him, because there's no pre-contract agreement, as far as I know, out there for him. So who knows? Who knows? I mean, it's all guesswork at the moment. I think we've lost him, and I think we've lost him obviously for nothing again. But I hope we haven't, because I think if we play three at the back, him, Sutar, and Faze, what a three. And if it's two, I mean, this guy, look, this is the guy that was not good enough for 18 months.
Mhm.
Wasn't even good enough when we went out and bought a very good player in Sutar from wherever we got him from. I can't remember now.
Like,
Stoke, that was it. He wasn't even good enough, and Sutar started over him. And yet, suddenly, within 4 days, the new manager's looked at him and gone, "You're my best option," and has picked him, although he hasn't played for sort of nearly a whole season, picked him over Harry Sutar. So, What else can we say?
that's it, mate. It feels like though. I'd love, and I'm hoping it does come out because 9 times out of 10 these things do eventually start to come out to press. I'd love to know what went on with between Brendan Rodgers and Soyuncu, but unless it is horrendously bad, which I doubt it is, because if it was horrendously bad, it would have been leaked by now.
Yeah.
He should have been playing and putting the good of the team and the club ahead of what's best for Brendan. But saying about that, I think this leaves me on nicely to Simore. I think what a performance, particularly that second half yesterday, was outstanding.
Where has that Samari been? But again, has he had the chat? I mean, he started yesterday, and I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at him starting, and I'm thinking, what the bloody hell has Mendy got to do? Yes, drop Ndidi, but he put Samari on, and then of course proved me wrong. Again, he had a couple of marauding runs into the opposition box, and it's these players that we. I mean, let's be honest with you. When we bought Samari, he was a champion. He was, he'd come from a championship winning team.
Mm.
So we've bought good players, but they just haven't been playing like good players. But suddenly, they are.
Mm. I think second half, particularly with Samara as well,
Mm.
having Dewsbury Hall next to him with those extra legs and like with the extra sort of energy in midfield, it meant Samara could get forward a bit more and you could see those driving runs because we saw so much of that before we signed him. It's all the clips that we saw on YouTube and like all of the compilations. I think that's what we started to see yesterday.
And maybe because it's being used correctly.
Maybe. It's strange, isn't it? You play your better players and you do well.
Yeah, well, it's not rocket science, as they say, but apparently to some it is. I mean, I don't know if you saw the quote, and I think again it was Rob Tanner that said to about a year or so ago, or even further back to Brendan, why did you buy Yannick Vestergaard? He's not the sort of player that fits into your sort of playing style, and he was shot down by Brendan, saying yes, he is. He's the right sort of player. That's why I bought him. And then within a year, he's frozen out and unlikely to ever see him again. So, hey.
I love that he dropped stinker after stinker, and that wasn't a problem. As soon as he puts an interview out on Danish TV, like saying like he should never have done the interview, and I actually agree with Brendan Rodgers putting him in the under 23s for it. But he said what everyone was thinking.
Did he say anything that bad, though? Did he really? I mean,
No, but
he certainly, compare what he did to what Ronaldo did.
yeah, but when you're Ronaldo, I think you've got a bit more of leeway than when you're Vestergaard, if we're completely honest.
Again, I honestly think that Vestergaard's had a bit of a bad press. He's not as bad a player as I think we all have put him down as, but he wasn't the player for us, and he was the wrong buy.
He was. I think the fellow we should have got, hopefully, will go down with Everton this year. Should have gone and got Tarkowski.
Should have done. I wanted him. I obviously knew him through Dan from when he was at Burnley. There's a lot of players that I think Ben Mee would have been a better option. But look, if Tarkowski goes down, we may still get him. But having said that, it might be a bit old now.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. But there's options out there for the summer, but that's if Everton go down and not us. But let's get into a live chat quickly because the comments are flying in tonight. Guys, do make sure to like this stream on both Chris's channel and my own. It really does help get the content out there, helps both channels. And I know I sound like a broken record saying it, but it really, really does help out. What about Moreno? Don't think he's happy with his club. Moreno looks like he'll be joining Villa if he moves anywhere. Like he's a disciple of Unai Emery, isn't he? So absolutely loves him. I think he's a cracking player, but I just think he's got Villa written all over him.
And to be honest with you, Villa are a better prospect at the moment.
Yeah. If we fix up on the misplaced passes, we should be good. Thing is, I didn't think our passing was that poor. It was just that first goal. But apart from that, and it was a big mistake from Yuri, but apart from that, I didn't think it was that poor. Really.
I thought I've been a big critic of our passing. I've often likened it to my son when he was under 11 and they were playing. They could pass better, but I didn't think it was that bad yesterday. I thought it was an improvement.
Yeah, I thought so for sure. We improved, yeah, completely. LCFC, I agree.
We've got to stop agreeing with each other again. It's not normal.
I know. We need it to you need to be going back on telling me that we won't get anyone better than Brendan and like, are delusional and the fact that he'll turn it around. There's a reason, and he's never had.
You want me to go for the 3Bs? Do you bring Brendan back? Bring the Boris Johnson of the Leicester Fan Channel. Get Brexit done. We'll bring Brendan back.
Jesus Christ! But it's the thing with this season, and Dean Smith. I feel like he's in a no-lose situation. Yeah. If he goes down, the damage is already done. The final nail was getting hammered into the coffin when he came in. If he keeps us up, he's done a miracle job. If we go down, it's expected to.
Everybody, it's the same with Sean Dyche at Everton. Exactly the same. It's huge. Anybody that goes in and everybody says, well, Rodgers hasn't got a relegation on his CV. For me, yes, he has, because if we do go down, it's on him because it was his fault. But no, Dean Smith can't lose. Like I said, if he keeps us up, is a miracle work. If he takes us down, well, we've tried. He did what he could do. He only had 8 games to do it in. So, yeah, it is a win-win for him, really.
100%. Brendan's stubbornness not to play Cags and Iverson cost us a lot of points this season. Iverson has been superb, hasn't he, since he's come in? He really has. And I don't know if that's just because the standard was absolutely on the floor, but anyone who makes a half-decent save looks brilliant. His distribution ain't all that, don't get me wrong. But he's doing the basics. So, maybe superb was probably going too far. But he's done well since he's come in compared to where Danny Ward is. And I can see Chris is about to...
No. I like Danny Ward. And I think Danny Ward's taken a lot of unwarranted criticism. Yes, he was absolutely awful. But it coincided with having an absolutely awful defence in front of him. And I don't care if we'd got Peter Shilton, Gordon Banks and Mark Wallington, all 3 of them between the sticks. With that defence, we would have still conceded a hell of a lot of goals this season. A goalkeeper cannot save everything that comes his way. And I think, unfortunately, he came in. I said at the time that Schmeichel had to go, because I do think last season he had an awful season. Again, the defence wasn't brilliant. I accept that. But I stand on the fact that Schmeichel had to go. I don't think we should have kept Schmeichel at all. He was, like I said before, he was impersonating Dracula. He wouldn't come out for crosses, and it was his time had gone. Ward, I'd say he came in at a difficult time. I don't think he was as bad as everybody makes out. A bit like Amati, if you like. That said, Everson has pulled off some amazing saves. I mean, that save he did at the end. I mean, a silly free kick given away by Daka, but what a save! What a save! Would Ward have got to that? We will never ever know. You can sit here and say, "Well, no, he wouldn't,"
Okay,
but
well, no, he wouldn't.
no, you don't know. You don't know. Look, he was 12 million. He came from Liverpool, and you've got to say that when he started as our number one, he'd only played one Premier League game.
It was a risk, and it's a risk that's backfired. But I think what ultimately, and I know you defend him, but like some of the goals he was letting in, and you can say about the poor defence, but some of the goals he was letting in was undefendable. Like the Chilwell one at the near post, and like there's plenty of examples like that. It's like I don't understand how it took 28 games before Iverson even got a look in.
No, and look, all I'm saying is that I don't think he's as bad as everybody has painted him. That said, who would I be picking to start the games now? Everson. I mean, so I'm not completely stupid, but yeah, I mean, and it might work out that that suddenly we've stumbled upon this. Like it's almost like we've stumbled upon a good management team by Jesse Marsh turning us down. Because if he'd accepted, we wouldn't have had these three guys in now. Same with Everson. He probably would have been out on loan or just sat on the bench had Ward not had the sort of start he had. That said, I still think we'll probably go out and buy another goalkeeper in the summer if we stay up.
I think if we stay up, we will. I think if we're a Premier League club next season, I think Iverson will be our number one. But again, I'm going to quickly jump back into the live chat because the chat is really, really busy today. So he did well in the Euros. That's why we signed him. I agree, actually. And I hate the fact of signing players off the back of international tournaments. It's like, what was the Polish lad that we signed?
Kaputska. I was just thinking of him then. Yeah, Kaputska.
We signed, was his off the back of a World Cup or Euros?
Under 20, under 23 or under 21 Euros, I think it was.
But never a fan of it. 99% of the time, it never works out. Three number threes, three number nines up front, if I can remember well. Yeah, on paper it was because Daka and Iheanacho and Vardy obviously all number nines. But as I said, Daka played on the wing and Vardy was the only proper striker there. I've just seen Chester's comment. I won't be putting that one on screen, but I do agree. Make sure to subscribe. Maybe not the second bit.
I'm going to go back and look for it now.
Pity for a few more players didn't call Rogers out. Yes, Castagne did, didn't he? Hi, Anna. How are you? Oh, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Feeling positive.
Sorry. Yeah, I've just seen it. Don't you knock her? She could have bloody made better than Jamie these last few games.
Should have got probably as well. Leeds, but the signing didn't go through in time. No, and I don't think we would have let go of Iosi Perez if
well, it was just Leeds, wasn't it? Leeds pulled out.
Yeah.
At the last minute, the player was here. He was undergoing his medical. We were ready to sign him. I'm surprised. I signed a new contract, I think, at Leeds, hasn't he? Which I'm surprised about the way that they treated him.
Apparently, though, Leeds wanted him to stay, but wasn't going to stand in his way of leaving either. And then it was pulled out last minute. But the thing is, I've read so many different sort of accounts of what's happened with Jack Harrison. But for us, I can't see if we know that Leeds weren't going to. Sorry, if Leeds were going to pull out, and obviously you don't know this kind of thing, but if we knew that, I don't see either Albrighton and Perez leaving. I only see one of them leaving.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. God, I'm agreeing with you again. Move on.
Iverson to be our number one. Ward can foxtrot occur. Now, the thing is, Ward, I think, is a higher championship, lower Premier League keeper. I don't think he's as bad as he was at the start of the season, but I also still think he's pretty bang average for the level that we want to be at.
I'm not going to mention Ward again because we will disagree. I'm just waiting for Everson's first bad game and then see how many people change their mind.
Yeah, but we were waiting for Ward's first good game, and then no, I'm joking. Ward did have a couple of very good games, to be fair. So
No, and I'm not stupid. Like I say, when he went all that run without conceding, all those clean sheets, it was against teams that he should have been doing that against anyway. So, but yeah, and look, whatever. At the moment, Everson's our better goalkeeper, and he should be starting.
by a long way. Yeah, glad we're on the same page. Chris, Danny Ward, no pressure, no preseason, never going to work. No, he didn't have a preseason, but then again, like there's a fair few players that didn't. But I suppose for the transition period that we had with Schmeichel going, a preseason would have helped him. So,
I remember one of the pre-season games Everson played and dropped a right clanger.
That was for behind closed doors one against Notts County.
Oh, that's allowed, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know. Didn't know that you're allowed.
Well, we're going to base it off pre-season. I remember against pre-season against Sevilla, European semi-finalists, by the way, where Iverson made a brilliant save.
I'm saying nothing.
Oh, I have missed these shows, Chris. I have missed.
Yes. Oh dear.
Josh, how are you doing, mate? Guys, do subscribe to Sports. A really, really nice guy. Great content. Make sure to subscribe. Help him out. Evening, Skin. Welcome into the chat, my friend. I hope you are well. Iverson. The Arsenal one near post. Arsenal was a strange one because Danny Ward actually made a couple of really good saves in that game. Then he dropped the ball right in front of their player. I think him and the defender got in the way of each other. Ward dropped the ball and it was a tap in.
Let's be honest with you. If it's a game where you make 3 good saves and one horrendous cock up, it's the one horrendous cock up that we all remember. So yeah, and look, yeah. We know Everson is playing better at the moment, and he's going to start, and quite rightly as well.
That hurt Chris to say, as the number one fan in Danny Ward's fan club. That really hurt Chris to say.
No, I'm being honest, and I know when I'm outnumbered.
I'm actually going to put it just out of curiosity because I am being like a bit tongue in cheek. I don't think Ward's anywhere near as bad as he's made out to be. But who do you think should be number one till the end of the season? I'm going to put this as a
poll. Oh, come on. You don't need to put that to a vote. Come on. That's just, not only is that sticking the knife in me back, that's twisting it. I said he's good. You know what the result's going to be on that.
I'm not quite sure yet. So let's just...
No, I'm sure you're not.
Just to make sure. Just to make sure. Guys, whilst I'm setting this poll up, do make sure to drop a like on the stream. So start a poll. Who should be number one? Ward, Iverson.
Hey, don't forget Smithers. That's being unfair. That's being ageist. You're not including Smithers in there. You've got to include Smithers in there as well. Otherwise, it's invalid. It is not a valid poll if all...
He's voted for Ward. Ward's winning at the moment. What is going on?
Come on, guys.
There we go. Iverson's on 75% now.
That was only one vote, though. But I refuse to recognise the legitimacy of this poll because not all... This, honestly, Mugabe's had fairer polls than this. That's all I will say. That if you're not including Smithers, it is not a proper poll, and I am unanimous in that.
Right. Do you want me to add like Brad Smith and all of the youth keepers as well whilst we're at it?
No, because they're not in the squad. Don't be silly. You're just being silly now.
Now you're being ageist. Oh, because they're not old enough now.
Brad Smith. They're not in that. They are not in our first team squad.
Brad Smith has made the bench this season. That's about as far as Smithies has got. Our signing of the summer.
So only because Ward's been playing so well.
Oh my
Honestly,
God.
Anyway, how's it going ruling Uganda? Are you still enjoying it? Oh, he's dead, isn't he? He's dead. We can't say that. He's dead. Bless him.
Get those likes. Get those votes in for the Great Dane, our great Danish keeper.
It's a fix. It's a corrupt channel. This honestly, it's like being in a chat with Sepp Blatter. You know you're not going to win. I feel like I am England versus your Qatar. There's no way I'm going to win this.
Stop the vote.
So much better.
Where are we? What's the vote at the moment? Guys, get involved on the poll. Come over to my channel as well if you're watching on Chris's channel. Get involved in the poll.
No. Everybody leave Ant's channel in protest. Protest at the illegitimacy of his vote. Honestly, it's like this is like being in Russia. This is Putin just saying, no, this is how I'm going to do it. And you watch. Come, trust me. Next week, Ant will be invading Derbyshire. You just wait and see.
Oh God, this is taking a dark U-turn, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. I'll get us off the topic. Don't you worry.
Jeez. Obviously, let's get back. I don't even know what to say, Chris. I really don't. But let's get back onto the football because I like, believe it or not, we are a football channel. So next week, this week, really, biggest week of the season coming up. Leeds at Ellen Road, and then Everton at King Power. If we win both of those, are we safe?
We're going to be taking points off two of our nearest rivals, one that's just above us and one that's just below us. And if it wasn't the fact of that, then you could argue possibly not. But I think because of if we can take 6 points and 3 off Leeds and 3 off Everton, yes, I think we could possibly be safe. We've got Liverpool coming up obviously after that, which it all depends which Liverpool turn up. If the Liverpool that smacked Leeds for 6 turns up, no. If we score, give them a couple of goals as well, no. But, the Liverpool that was playing was it Forest yesterday, they were awful. I mean, Forest, I hate to say this, but by God, they showed bottle and fight. And then
bottled it in the end.
Yeah. They lost. Well done, thank God for Liverpool actually doing it right for once. So but I think if we get the 6 points, we're not going to get anything off Newcastle. Let's face it, West Ham are safe now.
Mm-hmm.
They're on 34 now. They're safe. Stuck with Moyes, and it's actually worked. Although allegedly he might be going. Bournemouth are back into it on 33. I'm on a Bournemouth channel after this, but yeah, I think we are. Do you not think we are?
I think so. I think we're as good as safe. I think we could do with if we win these two and then get one more win, then I feel confident. But
I don't know. I mean, we've got Fulham. Now they haven't got Mitrovic, and their season's in sort of free fall at the moment. And he's not back. I think he's back in the game after us. But I mean, they are sort of where are they now? They are they're ninth, but they'd lost 3 in a row. They just won a couple, but who did they play?
They played Leeds the weekend.
And Everton. So I mean, not exactly difficult games for them. But
say that we've got Leeds coming up.
I fancy at least a point against Fulham. I just hope it doesn't come down to us needing something against West Ham on the last day.
That will be horrible. Just so you're aware, Chris, that our very legitimate poll is 87% favour of Don't forget your free scarf on Tuesday. Yeah, everyone who's going to Ellen Road will be getting a free scarf. All the Leicester fans making the trip up to Leeds, which is a nice touch from the club. If it's for one that face Bournemouth, we're good. Thing is, apart from the Leeds game, Liverpool have been absolutely hopeless away from home all season.
Yeah. Yes, agree.
Win against West Ham on the last days of the season, I've gone right ahead. I really, really hope we don't need anything on that last day of the season.
I don't think we will, to be honest with you. It's at the King Power, isn't it? But, I mean, West Ham, I mean, they demolished Bournemouth
Hmm.
today, 4-0. They're they're riding on a high of getting into a semi-final of a European competition for the second year season running. And before that, they'd won a couple of games 1-0 that were awful games, but they won dirty, if you like. So I can see us struggling on that last day, and I hope we're done. And if you give me 7 points from the next 3 games, I think that's going to do us.
Yeah,
Because I can't see we've got the easiest run in. I mean, if you look, we've got Leeds next, and Bournemouth have got Southampton. I grant you, but West Ham have got Liverpool, Wolves have got Crystal Palace, Everton have got Newcastle. Sorry, James, if you're watching, and Nottingham Forest have got Brighton.
so yeah, difficult games for a lot. It's like you say, ours is the most favourable. So hopefully, touch wood, we will be all right. But let's get through the last couple of comments, and then we will round this up. Guys, do get the likes up on the stream, as I've been saying throughout the channel. Throughout the stream. The channel is almost at 4K subscribers as well, so do subscribe. We're really trying to push for that before the end of the season. So
Unless you're Danish, then you're going to get a lot of votes off Denmark tonight, aren't you?
well, saying of votes, because you've asked, our very legitimate poll is on 88% for Iverson.
That isn't even that. You should be. I'd move before you get struck by lightning. Very legitimate poll.
Chris is better than Ward.
Well, you've not seen me, have you? You've not seen me.
Jack, how are you doing, my friend? Guys, do subscribe to the Final Whistle. Help him out. Nice guy. Home and away match day content with Leicester, so do make sure to help him out. Will Brighton, after today's marathon, yeah, they went 120 minutes today and lost on penalties, didn't they? So,
yeah.
Who's their next game, Ken?
Forest. Brighton have got Forest.
Why do they have to be playing them after that?
Yeah, but you not think, in a bit of looking at it on the other side, that they're going to out to prove a point?
Yeah, they've got, and it's not as if they've got nothing to play for. They've still got a lot to be playing for.
Well, they are in 8th place.
Yeah,
so out the 3 clubs like Brighton, Fulham, and Brentford that could cause a shock, Brighton are still looking the most likely. And they've got games in hand. They've got 2 games in hand now on everybody around them, Fulham and Liverpool.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But massive game on Tuesday. Won't be an easy game, though. But I think we can win 3-1. Get an early goal and we're fine in that game. I think Leeds, particularly at Ellen Road, like they've taken 2 hidings in a week from Palace 5-1, Liverpool 6-1. I think if you get an early goal, the crowd will turn on them very quickly.
Well, I've got a Leeds fan coming on tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that.
The thing is, as much as like I say, Leeds fans will turn on them very quickly. Like there'll be frustration, there'll be anger, sort of going behind again. Credit where it is due; they were still singing to the end of that 6-1 defeat.
Yeah, the fans are good. I mean, the only team they've beaten in the last 5 games is Forest.
See, Leeds are going up in my estimation the more you talk.
You didn't see me. I joined that watch along with Leeds, Liverpool, because obviously my stream get going now, so I was following other scores. I went from hating the Scousers to loving them to we should stop all the benefits to loving them again. I was, oh yeah, but I do like the Scousers at the moment.
I'm sure you're hell bent on getting this channel taken down, but
what?
Yeah.
I just said that if the football team was as good at scoring goals as they were at pinching tyres, then there would have been easily more goals up against Forest. What's wrong with that?
Where to start? With what's wrong with that?
Oh, you're just too woke. You youngsters today. Come on.
But
nothing like a good stereotypical joke.
But no, what I will say is with Liverpool, they've got Champions League's gone, isn't it? Really for them. I think they're chasing now what Europa League spot.
I mean, they are on 50 points, and they've played one more game than United, who are on 59 and in fourth. So, yeah, and look, Villa, I think, are going to get a European place. And fair play to them. They made a good decision. I got a good manager in, and it's proving good for them. Not lost in the last five. Spurs, what can you say? Boy, apart from have a good laugh at them. They're just dropping like a poo down a toilet, aren't they? It's good to see. But I mean, they're 53. I mean, it made me laugh the other day that Tottenham was saying that Maddison was being linked with them, and I said, why? He wants to improve his career and win trophies. Why the hell would he go to Tottenham Hotspur? But they were awful today, absolutely awful. So, yeah, I think they're Liverpool looking for Europa League unless Man United completely implode, and I don't think they will, to be honest with you.
No, I can't see it now.
Well, look at De Gea. Look at the mistakes he was making. Now, see, if Man United had Ward in goal, they'd have won that game.
So on that note,
I tell the truth. They didn't have me on GB News for no reason,
But saying about players that are being treated unharshly, David De Gea is not a bad goalkeeper.
No,
the way he gets hounded at Man United is ridiculous. I do think they need a new keeper the way that Ten Hag gets him playing, but he's still a very good shot stopper.
He is. And look, you know what Man United fans are like. And fans of most clubs, including ours. Look, he has somebody has a bad game, and it's always worse when it's a goalkeeper because 9 times out of 10 their mistakes lead to goals. If Jamie Vardy slips over and misses, a shot, it's all right. He'll have another chance. But if he goes opposite ends at the other end, then, like I said, the goalkeeper's to fault, and it'll always be remembered. So no, I'd take De Gea now for a couple of seasons. I think he's a good player.
Very good player, just not a modern goalkeeper, which is ultimately where. But I think what probably hurts Man United fans even more, and I was saying this earlier on, is the fact you see Alisson at Liverpool, you see Edison at Man City, and it's like all their rivals have got these top drawn modern goalkeepers, and then they've got De Gea.
No, then they need to do something about it, don't they?
Yeah, send them to Leicester.
Yes.
We are going to wrap it up here, though, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who has been watching. As I say, Chris's channel is in the title. Do make sure to click on that subscribe. We have Chris.
Love you, Ward.
Oh yeah, let's quickly have a look at the poll.
Yeah.
So the very legitimate poll, 92% for Iverson. Would you imagine that?
Who would have thought that in a pro Iverson channel?
Well, that is because we are Leicester fans. We want what's best for Leicester. It's almost like starting your best keeper's a good idea.
I just think it's all just very, very corrupt.
He's going to cry in a minute. But anyway, thank you guys so much to everyone who has been watching. If you have enjoyed, please do drop a like. Subscribe to Chris's channel. Subscribe here. I've just seen what you put hashtag Ward. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe. But I will see you guys in the next one.
Take care, guys.